Hello, this is Scott Carpenter. I'm hiking here on Tellico Lake. Yeah, I'm on my vacation, thank God. It's Monday and got a couple hours. We got, as usual, it looks like every day we're going to have a front come in, or rain showers move in after about lunch, right after lunch. So all my activity will have to be in the morning. But I'm hiking the shoreline here, Tellico, one of my newer trails right along the lake. And you can see here I am right along the lake. I have to leave my fishing rod to truck, because if I don't, and I won't hike, I'll just fish. So I wanted to talk today. My good friend Steve Ishdahl is getting ready to really drop some truth bombs, and from scientists and oops, sorry. Wind. Okay, so sorry about that. It's a big spider. So Steve Ishdahl is getting ready to drop some truth bombs from Edgar. That's the scientist. From other scientists about the nuclear DNA side of the Sasquatch, and some other facts. And what I wanted to do, and I'm not tooting my own horn or tooting David Pilates or the rest of our team, I just kind of, this is more, and what Steve's getting ready to talk about, and I don't know exactly what he's going to say, he just gives hints. But I take it you got to guess, because I've been involved in this for over 12 years now, and DNA study and observations. So I was going to kind of give my 2 cents worth on what we've already found, and we'll see if that lines up with what the scientists have found, because they have 3,000 DNA samples. So Dr. Ketchum and David in the Sasquatch genome study, we had 110 samples that were used in that paper, and out of that they got 3 complete genomes, and the DNA came back as mitochondrial, which comes from the female, was human, or mostly human, and then the nuclear was totally unknown. And even though they had 3 genomes, really ran out of funding to do the analysis, because you may get the data, there's 3 terabytes worth of data in one genome, and then you have to start comparing it, blasting sequences from different subsets of the DNA, different genes, etc., etc., so forth and so on. And I'm getting dangerous, because I'm no geneticist, and so, but I know enough to be dangerous. The bottom line is, there's different areas you might want to study and try to determine what type of DNA you've got. But the only thing we could tell was it did not match anything in GenBank, which is a depository of all the DNA in the world, as much as it's been turned in, from humans to all kinds of animals. And it did not, that nuclear DNA did not match anything in the database. So it wasn't human, it wasn't an animal, it was something very different. And the DNA had single strand, double strand, single strand. There were genes missing or damaged, or just, and what gave scientists trouble with it is there were genes that you have to have if you're a normal human, and they were looking at this from a human standpoint, then there's you're going to gestate, and you're going to carry to term and be born. There's certain things you must have genetically. And what happened is, when they would look at these nuclear sequences, some of those were either missing or wrong, and for the scientists, it's like, well, there's no way that this can be from a living being, because these genes, or this subset of DNA, this would have caused a birth defect, and they would have aborted naturally, and they wouldn't have been born. So this is impossible for this genome to even be here. And that was the conundrum, because, you know, you had the DNA, you had the hair sample or blood sample or whatever the sample came from, as far as, you know, whether it was hair or blood, saliva. And many times you had, I've got to get, all these spiders are killing me, sorry. Give me a stick to knock the spider webs down. So, anyway, sorry. So back to my blabbing. So, you had to get, so, you know, the scientists just, it was very difficult. And this is layman's, this is very simplified. There was more than just this, there was politics and everything else, but one of the things that gave them trouble was this. And so they're like, well, this shit can't even be alive. This nuclear DNA, there's no way that this animal should even be breathing. And yet, of course, it was breathing, and it was alive, and it was born in some form or fashion. And so, but, you know, in their minds, they could, it was just, well, this has to be contaminated. Of course, it was not, but that's all that, it was a cognitive dissonance. They just could not fathom this thing being alive. And a bunch of Texas veterinarian and a bunch of hoodlum rednecks, you know, not involved in a government proper study, actually discovered this. So that's kind of what happened to the DNA study. It got poo-pooed, of course, but that's what we found. So, and Dr. Ketchum has attempted, hang on, spider, come on, get him off of me here. Sorry about that. I even got spider web on my camera. Okay. So, where was it? Anyway. Alright. Spider web. I hate those things. They're not deadly or dangerous, just pain. Okay. Ugh. All right, back to where I was. So anyway, I can't even remember. There's a guy up here fishing. It's quiet. Okay, so let's see, where was I? So anyway, so Dr. Ketchum's had her stuff verified by labs, and basically what happens is the lab will verify it. They'll ask for it. She'll give them the samples. They'll verify it, and then they'll clam up. It's happened multiple times from big name labs, and since, you know, they take the samples and with the intention of proving that it's not some sort of novel DNA, and when it comes out to verify Dr. Ketchum's results, then they're told, you know, you can't release this. We'll fire you if you do. And Dr. Ketchum usually gets a courtesy call or a courtesy email notifying her that they did verify the results, but they won't release them. And have a nice day. So that's kind of what's going on there. So I kid all that to catch you up to. Now you've got Steve with Edgar, and Edgar's got his physicist, and he's got Steve in touch with scientists that actually worked on a government project that has over 3,000 DNA samples, and they have, of course, had our tax dollars to be able to run the number one, do the study and of the 3,000 DNA samples and run the full spectrum on the nuclear. So he's getting ready to release that. Of course, he's hinted that what we found out is a human hybrid, and it's got a mixture of human, the nuclear DNA, more than likely. Here's my prediction. This is Scott's prediction. Scott's prediction is that it's going to have, of course, animal DNA mixed in there. It's probably, I think lemur is one, but it may have some primate DNA in there, as far as it may have canine. There may be, other mixtures of DNA, and still some unknown sequences, because we don't know what a fallen angel's DNA looks like. And we also got to remember that these are descendants in multiple generations. So these Sasquatch have backbred with human beings, and so some of their genomes will be diluted. I've got a sneaky suspicion that some are like descendants of multiple generations, while others may be more modern and more recently manipulated to produce. It just depends. So I've got a feeling that that's what we're going to find, and what kind of animals have been used, what kind of DNA. It looks like that when the fallen angels designed these beings, that they were designed for the current conditions here on Earth, on the good Earth, and to deal with the terrain. We're designed to live in the Garden of Eden with almost perfect conditions. And then after the fall, obviously, we were in an environment that wasn't, it was fallen, that wasn't what we were designed for. And I think when you look at the Sasquatch or the dog man or some of these other creatures, they're kind of, they're genetically predisposed to be able to deal with the lower oxygen content and the terrain and they're able to survive without needing covering and coats and etc. Plus they have the knowledge of the ether, and that leads me into my next subject. Hang on a second. Okay, I got an airplane going overhead here, and I'm getting ready to climb a hill, so we'll see how out of breath I get. I'm in decent shape, but I need to be in better shape. So I need to talk louder, I know. It's not very conducive to walk around with a microphone. Go under this tree here. Alright, so Steve hinted in a video today that about oh, there's a frog, hang on, like a child, little toad, there he goes. Up one more time, and it's gonna hunker down. I don't know if you can even see. Okay, so here we go. All right, back to the subject at hand. So Steve mentioned how they talked about how they, to figure out if Sasquatch are around, that they would not only a Geiger counter for radiation, but also electromagnetic sensor machine that could, or a instrument that could measure high levels of electromagnetic energy. And for years, if you follow my channel, that's where my theory went. But long before I met Steve, that this is an electric universe we live in, that there is an ether, and there's what's around, what we're breathing is in the we live in this ether, and it has many qualities. There's electricity in the air, electromagnetic energy all around us. We're literally swimming in it. Every time that our heart beats, we create electromagnetic pulse and create a toroid around our bodies. And Sasquatch and other cryptids can sense this, then no amount of camouflage. That's how they know you're there when you get there. Is your electromagnetic signature. And no amount of camouflage, being sneaky, even if you even had a cloak, it wouldn't matter, because you can't hide electromagnetic signatures, and they can sense it. And so obviously the Sasquatch give off quite a large signature, and I just thought that was interesting, and I just wanted to mention it, that I guess what I'm trying to say is that we've, Dave and me and others on the team, have been trying to give you the best information we have on the Sasquatch, based on the research and our experience and our knowledge. And it'll be interesting to see how that lines up with government scientists that have 3,000 samples and had multi-million-dollar budgets to study these things for, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 years. And see how they line up. See how our observations and what I've discovered, and Dave's discovered, etc., lines up with what these scientists say. And I think, we're not probably be 100%, but it's sounding to me like we're 80 to 90%. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud of being part of an organization, North American Bigfoot Search, that took this subject seriously, used, quote, the scientific method, did sound research, and then presented that our findings to the people, whether it was popular or unpopular, whether it was woo or not woo. If we experienced it and documented it, then we told you. We told you about cloaking, we told you about the portals, we told you about the paranormal aspects of the Sasquatch. We told you about the hitchhiker, what's now called the hitchhiker effect, which I just called "they'll follow you home." But it's been given a name, which is, I think, a good name, hitchhiker. And also warn people about, once you get involved with the Sasquatch research stuff and you start actively seeking them out, then you're going to have to start dealing with other cryptids and other paranormal activity that seems unrelated, like UFOs and gray aliens and poltergeist and orbs. But in reality, all these things are interrelated. There's sound like a tree limb breaking or something. I'm flapping my jaws so one could run out behind me and follow me, and I'll never see it. And that's the only thing about when I walk and talk, is I miss half the stuff, because I'm trying not to fall on the roots and stuff on the ground, and I'm trying to record, and I'm trying to talk loud enough so everybody can hear me. Because I was growing up, in the woods, I was taught you're quiet in the woods. You don't talk loud in the woods. You just don't. You whisper and you listen, you're quiet. Even when you're just hiking or enjoying yourself, you're always, to be on alert and observe. And you don't want to be busting through the woods, making a whole lot of noise. Sorry, I forgot my sweat rag. And I'm just covered in spider webs. Now, I will tell you something interesting. You know, spiders build their, between these trees every night. The spiders will build their webs. And coming down the trail, I was running into spider webs. That's usually a sign that no one's been down that trail this morning. Once I got to the bottom of the hill and started up, I've not encountered one spider web. That could mean a lot of things, but obviously, most likely, something has walked through here around 5.5, 6 foot tall. It could have been cows, or it could have been something else. Has already traversed this trail this morning. It could have been a person. But if they came from the trailhead I came from, the next trailhead's like 3 miles, 4 miles away. And given when I got here a little after 8, and the fact that there's nothing down below, I mean, there's nothing up. Just the wind. It's going to start raining on me soon. Anyway, that's just an observation that something's come down the trail, and sometime last night and this morning, because it's taken out all the spider webs. It's just the little things like that you notice. So, just about the top of the hill, and then I'll go out the ridge line along the lake. So, let me break this up. Got to break the clips up so they're not so long. So, trying to get back on top here. So, I guess I just wanted to kind of do a little my 2 cents worth on what we might find, and so you'll know what we found. You can look at my research. It's all documented about what I think about the electromagnetics and how the Sasquatch use it, and the same thing with a genome study and what the Sasquatch possibly could be on the nuclear side. Of course, I'm Nephilim is a broad term, but I'm a Nephilim theory guy who thinks that they're descendants of the Nephilim, which is fallen angels copulated with human women and had offspring, and then those offspring, or the fallen angels did teach man. Well, they did it themselves. They crossed themselves with animals, and they also taught the blending of species. In other words, they taught man how to, blend a lion in a human, and a lion in a cow, and a lion in a goat, to get all kinds of crazy creatures. So, that was a nut falling from above. But, I gotta watch out for these. There's a whole guy's got a herd of cows up here. Just need to watch out for them. I think I hear them over the hill. Either that or it's raining, and it's just not falling through the canopy yet. So I guess I'll finish this up saying that I keep rambling. That I hope I'm excited to see what the government scientists have to say and what their findings are and how it'll line up. And once that gets released, I may do a video kind of highlighting that. But if you, like I said, for me, it's important to know that everybody that watches the channel knows that we were giving you the best information, good information, cutting edge information. We weren't hiding the truth from you. We weren't running around saying it's a bipedal ape and doing what was politically expedient. We were telling you the truth regardless of the consequences. And sometimes it was, consequences are pretty harsh, from being deplatformed to losing friends that thought you were a lunatic. But we stuck with it, and the truth, because people need the truth. People need to know the truth. You're entitled to it, and you need to know what's going on. So with that being said, I hope you guys have a good day. I'm going to try to finish my hike without getting wet. We'll see. I got my umbrella. These trails, it's too darn hot to wear a rain suit, so these trails are wide enough I can do an umbrella. But yeah, I'm going to try to get a couple hours in this morning and just get some good exercise and keep the weight loss going. And until the next time, guys, y'all be careful out there. God bless, and we'll talk to you soon.